Hey everybody, so the part I'm working on right now is the clutch basket, the infamous clutch basket. So what I did is I ordered the kit from Six Center, and so just to show what came with it was this box, okay, and in the box there were the screws and the rubbers. These are definitely softer than these originals. Yeah, these originals are rock hard. So definitely gonna make a difference there. So anyway, that's what I got in the box, plus these instructions. Okay, and that's what's on the back. And so I already have my clutch basket apart. I cleaned everything off, and the next step is to start drilling some holes. So I did some test runs with this one because you have to make the holes just a little bit bigger in order to fit the bolts, which are these. And these are the ones that need to be ground down. Other bolts are sold that are like pancake head, wafer head, I don't know what you call them, but they're flatter than that, button head. But I'm going to go ahead and go with these because I already have them. I am using a 15/64 drill bit. I don't have any metric drill bits. I just got these plus a bunch of others. I got a ton of drill bits, but they're all standard. So the closest thing to it is a 15/64. I thought about going up to a quarter since that's just a 64th more. And the bolt would fit just fine through it and have enough for the head still. But I'm going to go ahead and try the 15/64 first just to see, because that's what I want to do. So anyway, I pre-drilled 2 holes, and so this is pretty much what I do in my setup, is I just make sure to get it lined up, centered on the hole. And then I'll go ahead and take my clamps, because I don't have clamps come with this. So I just take my clamps to hold 2 ends of the disc, and then I just slowly drill them out. And so that's what I'm gonna do next. Okay, so I have those drilled. This fits in all the holes. Now, I tried to stay in the center as much as possible of the holes. That one of them I had kind of a hard time. I wanted to get exact center. So if I'm off the teeniest bit, I might end up having to drill one or all of these out to a quarter, just to give me that extra leeway in case I didn't get all of these exactly on center. So the next step says to need to tap these holes with 6mm. So I do happen to have metric set from owning the CBX or being around it and working on it for so long. So I do happen to have a 6. Everything lines up great, just to be sure. All the threads are great. So this is what I need, and I need to tap all of these holes. Okay, so I just wanted to be 100% sure before I tap this that I had the right hole size. Because in the instructions, it doesn't say to drill these holes out, just the one on the plate, right? But I just wanted to check it out for my part, just to see. And so I came over here to my chart. So it's an M6x1. So the tap drill size is going to be a 5mm. So we want a 5mm hole. So I don't have anything exact to fit in there, so I just took my calipers and got them as close to 5 as possible, held them up to the hole, and it looks like the hole's actually a little bigger than 5mm. Not a whole lot, but it is. So then that means the hole is slightly too big. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to hold it on real good, but it's just slightly too small, or the hole's slightly too big. So I'm going to go ahead and go with it just because the instructions don't say any different and the hole size isn't that much bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and not drill anything out because it's already slightly too big. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap them. It's going. Pretty easy because the hole's slightly large and it's aluminum. It's not binding up at all. There's the tap on the other end. Right there. Whoops. Might want that back. Not too careful. So there's the tap. Went in pretty easily, like you saw. So now I just got to do the next, what, 5? 5. Okay, so those are all tapped. Bolts go in pretty slick. Like I said, they're a little oversized, at least according to my chart. But it's all done. So the next step is that's basically it, is then you install the rubbers and then put everything back together, and then put the bolts on. Tight fit. So there is the shape in the cushion. Does go a certain way. So I guess if you try and force it on the wrong way, you'll figure it out. Maybe I should do some grease. Now it's going. It hurts. Okay, did go on. The instructions say to put some grease on them to help get them down, but it didn't really need them, so I didn't put any grease. Now let's see if we can get an alignment here. See if I can get my screws in before we go any further, just to make sure if I was off center a little bit, these won't go in. So I'm going to test it out. So far so good. I think it's going to work. All right. So the drilling was a success. So that's what I was saying. If I drilled one of these holes just off a little bit, then if I got these on, then this one, who knows, might be just too hard to get in. So that's why when I drilled this plate out, I tried to make sure that the drill bit was as centered as possible, so that when it goes together, all those holes lined up just fine. So I don't know. Either way, this one worked. So it does mention using some blue Loctite. So got myself some blue Loctite. Let me put this plate back on. Hopefully I won't be seeing these cushions for a long time, if ever. That's way too much. Or spread it out. Yeah, I should have put it on a little cleaner than that. Right, so I found it easier just to put it on my finger and then spin it and get it clean, and then I put it in, got a lot of it off, because I just didn't like the excess that was squishing out. So anyway, here we go. All right, there's no torque given, but since we are going into aluminum, I'm not going to make it too hard, but definitely snug. Then the Loctite should do the rest. There. There we go, that's it. Clutch basket rebuilt. Now I got to get these off. And that one I'm going to have to come up with something. Thought about it. Might find a way. I don't know, we'll see. Because I don't have machine bits and stuff like that that just cut off. And I do want to make them nice and straight. Which that's the benefit, I guess, if you buy the other screws that I've seen. But this will be fine because I just don't want to spend the money on the screws. I got these, and what the heck, I don't care. Maybe next time if I have to do this for some reason. So I'm going to come up with something. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try the disc. I already tried it a little bit to see how it would work on this bolt, screw, whatever, and started to go. But then I noticed, and obviously I've been working with steel for a long time, but it was flipping out a lot of powder, powdered steel. So being OCD, I didn't want any of that hanging around or getting down in there anywhere just to one day float around in the engine. Probably doesn't matter a whole lot if I just blew it out afterwards, but I don't want to. So I just went ahead and stuck some tape around it to keep it out of the cracks because it's all going that way. So because of the way I'm cutting. So anyway, that's what I'm doing just to keep some of that out. So we'll continue to cut and see how it's going. Yeah, so you can already see, I can already tell it's going off, and the problem is that these discs, I'm used to the bigger chop saw discs, but these are so thin, they flex. Even the chop saw ones flex, but this is obviously flexes way easy. So I can see where I've been cutting, and then because I'm trying to see how it goes, I'm pushing it a little bit, it's starting to ride up till it got to this end. So I can either continue to take my time and go slow with this and try and hit it from all sides and then it just might take too long. See if I can find a thicker disc or something along these lines, but this is probably about the only way I gotta go here because I can't think of anything else that I have that could cut these flat and square. So we'll see what I can do. Alright, so this is a long time later. I used this as long as I could, and I don't know, I was probably doing it for an hour, I don't know, but it took forever, and I knew I was getting nowhere, and I didn't have 8 hours to grind all of them. So decided I had to come up with something different. So I did get that, and what I did in the end was I decided, because I didn't have anything that I could just put in the drill press and get it to go up the chuck and hold it and be straight. And so I was digging through my tools. I found an angle grinder, and I took the end apart because in the end I had a disc like, just say something like this, I'll show you in a second, but it had threads in the middle, right, like that. So I had a disc like this, and it's for metal specifically. So I knew those were made for the angle grinder. So I decided to take the angle grinder head apart, and then get down to the shaft, and I figured I could make it work. So I took the main shaft out, the drive shaft, I don't know what you want to call it, and it had a tip on it that was threaded to go into the, like the one that I showed you. And so I jimmy rigged everything, and I got it into the drill press, and it's like you would attach it to, let's see if I can get that to focus. I'd attach it just like you would an angle grinder. I turn it on, and it spins just fine. So, and then of course this disc is thick enough it's not going to flex. So I just invented my own cutter. And of course I can adjust the handle. So I messed around with it using my calipers. This was about a 1.6 to 7, this washer. So I ended up sticking it on top, and I tried to set the depth and everything with the drill press to where it's close enough. The only thing that I know for sure is I don't want it bigger than 1.7 millimeters. If it's a little under, it doesn't matter. So I put it on turn the drill press on, and then I went ahead and finished that one off. Anyway, that's about as good as I'm going to get. So that's what I got. So I'm going to do another one, and I'll show that one in its entirety, and we will see how it goes. So I'm just going to double check, see what I got. Looks like 1.58. Of course, you know, could be off just a hair here or there, trying to hold it straight up. 162. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure on that one because, like you say, you got to hold it straight up and down. But either way, I can take it down a little farther. This one's down a little farther. This one's up. I raised it up just a hair. But in the end, I may actually, where's my... Well, this washer I used on the calipers the way you're supposed to, and it comes out 169, 168, 163. You know, it's in there because it's not perfect. 166, 7. So this is under 16 or 17. So when I place that right there next to them in between, and I eyeball it, I can't see the washer or it's right flush with it. So I'll take that as a success, and that will be my way of cutting these bolts off. Okay, so what I did was take some time and look at it and put that washer underneath it, and then got my trusty old jeweler's glasses or whatever you want to call them. And I looked in real close because I tried to use a straight edge and everything else. The washer's not perfectly flat, so I just dealt with what I could, but I pushed the washer down where I needed it to compare, and I could see it really close. And so then if something was sticking up a little bit, I'd just take the marker, I'd mark that part of it, and I went all the way around, and then I'd go ahead and stick it back up there, and then just grind it down until the marks came off, and compared it again and again until I was for sure that they were all lower. So that's what it looks like in the end. I will say that, let me use something thinner. In here, in the holes, anybody who's ground anything knows that when you grind something, you'll leave like paper, like razor pieces of metal that might fold over, and they're left over. So I didn't want to leave those, so I grabbed another tool and I made sure to scour each edge of this hole. Because there's none on the edges, but the edge of each hole inside, and pulled out some chunks of metal like those, because I didn't want those floating around in the engine. So I cleaned them up, took a wire brush to them. Then I took a blew air through everything just in case, to get any leftover that the tape didn't get. And there is my new clutch basket. The instructions do mention punching these, so I'll probably, or what does he call it? He calls it center the back sight off the bolts to secure. So I'm assuming he just means stake the back side of the bolts. So I'll probably do that. I mean, why not? And that's it. So that is how I did my clutch basket. One last quick video to show you. So in the end, this was the disc, and I'm sorry, I totally spaced it, and it's old age. So there is no thread. It's just a typical disc that goes on a right angle grinder, and I mean, that's the old one that I had on it. But this is the shaft that I took out of it. And it goes in like that, and this is the part that sticks out, and this is why I was thinking it had threads, but it has threads. It has threads for this one. So that's why it has threads, and that's why I was confusing it. So anyway, this is a shaft. I mounted the disc up to here, put it on like a normal you would a grinder, and then I took that shaft and just shoved it straight up the chuck, tightened it down, and since it's round, it fit on just like a drill bit, and it worked for me. And then I increased the RPM because I originally had it kind of slow, so I increased the RPM to where am I at? 2050. These discs are clearly able to spin faster than that. So actually, max RPM 13,000. So I wasn't even close, but it was good enough for this. And obviously, I didn't want to make it go too fast on that drill press. Just wanted to show you what I used, if any of you are crazy enough to want to try that one. But that's how I adapted the setup, using that to get it to grind flat. All right, that's all.